Thank you very much. I'm Frederick D Haynes III. I'm senior pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church here in Dallas, Texas, and I am grateful for the presence of several outstanding community leaders, including Minister Dominique of the Next Generation Action Network, the pastor of the Concord Church, Pastor Brian Carter, who is also the president of our African American Pastors Coalition, as well as representatives from the local chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and the African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is led by Bishop Vashti McKenzie, who would be here if she was not out of town. And so we are here today because evidently the new journalistic motto is no longer if it leads, it bleeds, but if it's negative about Chief Hall, we need to tell it all. And so with that being the case, we are disappointed in how there appears to be a concerted and determined effort to undermine the leadership credibility of Chief U. Renee Hall. Chief U. Renee Hall, since she has been in Dallas, has made an effort, and I speak as one from a community, a black community that has experienced a heartbreaking history whereby in many instances the policing system has been used as a weapon of oppression. The blue wall has often meant oppression on our side of town. But with the advent of the administration of Chief U. Renee Hall, the blue wall has become a bridge as she has attempted to make efforts to reach out to our community. At the same time, Chief Hall has sought to build the morale of the Dallas Police Department, which our community is definitely down with. A Dallas Police Department that has known heartbreaking tragedy, a Dallas Police Department that needed healing. And the healing personality of Chief U. Renee Hall has come to Dallas, and she's attempted to do just that. However, there has been on the part of many in the media to do everything in their power to undermine her leadership credibility. And so as a consequence, just yesterday and the evening before, leading the news was an incident that took place 8 years ago that she self-disclosed during the interview process. She volunteered the information. And of course, the information now has been skewed, and it's almost as if this is a scandal that really is non-news. I'm asking you, if you are having a slow news day, instead of reporting all that's negative about Chief Renee Hall, let's talk about the fact that she's made inroads into the black community, meeting with African American ministers, meeting with activists like Dominique Alexander, to bring down the wall of blue oppression and instead convert it into a bridge of outreach and partnership. As a consequence, there's a strategic effort to do all we can to minimize, if not eliminate, crime and violence in our city. Why? Because there is a sense that we can have a partnership with the police as opposed to an adversarial relationship. I think that's worthy of news reporting, as opposed to her going to the hospital on her day off in order to visit someone who is a police officer while she's caught in the middle of having a pedicure. I think that's all right on your day off. It's not news. And so in this day where fake news and alternative facts have become a reality in journalism, I'm asking you, the media, to recognize our community. We stand in support of Chief U. Renee Hall. We have her back, but at the same time, we are holding her accountable. But we also want you, in holding her accountable, to make sure you report all of the news and not just what's negative about Chief U. Renee Hall. At this time, I present a community activist extraordinaire who has been holding the police department accountable for a long time, and that is activist Dominique Alexander. After he speaks, we're going to hear from the pastor of the Concord Church, who is also the president of the African American Pastors Coalition, the prophetic and progressive coalition of pastors in this community, Pastor Brian Carter. I also again want to acknowledge the dynamic pastors from the African Methodist Episcopal Church who have come to share with us. But at this time, we'll follow with Dominique Alexander.
Hello, how y'all doing? I want to thank everybody that came out here today. If someone that would have told me a couple of years ago that I would be out here today in support of the Dallas Police Chief, I would have told you were lying. But that just shows you where the area of protest and where the area of conversation and where the area of progress has been made. Since Chief Hall's arrival last fall, I have saw her leadership and integrity be attacked with all different meaningless attacks, which was unfair. The first thing they did when she came here, they said, has she took her exam? They knew when they were hiring an out-of-state police chief that they were going to have to take their exam.
Right.
We had an actual elected sheriff that failed her exam twice and passed it the third time. And no one said anything about it. But now when Chief Renee Hall came down here, they want to say, and they wanted to rush her into it. But she aced that, and they moved to the next conversation by dragging her down the mud about her dismantling vice unit, only to bring a third-party investigating agency in here to look at what was going on. Not putting her opinion over the situation, but saying, hey, pushing for transparency in our community. Then they move on to the all-time lowest by dragging something that is a personal situation that they could have did an Oprah records request where she disclosed this information. They also drags her assistant director and chief of staff, Thomas Taylor, in this, whom is also from Detroit, Michigan. These type of coward acts are the history of the city of Dallas, where people hide behind the pen and hide behind the face of journalists only to push their certain agenda.
Right. Only
to push a credible chief, a chief that has brought inroads that I didn't think was possible in Dallas. As I've protested this facility so many times in the past year, I didn't think there was any hope for this city and this police department. But Chief Renee Hall has been able to allow me to see a different side, to see an inroads where this police department can be the beautiful police department that people can walk in and feel safe, and people can walk out and be confident that their police chief and that the 3,500 officers are doing everything that they can do. So I come here to stand with all of the civic and clergy here today. I come here to give my support for Chief Renee Hall. And when I give her my support, I'm also the one that's standing there with her, making sure that we progress in the right direction for what all the men and women who have marched through these streets to address police brutality and police accountability. I stand here today because I know that this woman that is at the helms of the Dallas Police Department is working with us to make this police department a better police department, and I will not stand idly by while she be attacked. So I ask that all the community support Chief Renee Hall and fight back on frivolous journalism that's only trying to attack their credibility.
Thank you.
President.
Thank you.
We're here today to voice our support for Chief Hall. I thank my colleagues, Pastor Haynes, Minister Dominique, and all of those gathered today for this opportunity to express our sincere support for Chief Hall. Chief Hall has a tireless record of impeccable service, both in Detroit and both now in her time here in Dallas.
Right.
Since she's come, we champion and we celebrate her for a commitment to criminal justice reform, to a commitment to be involved and engaged in the community, to her commitment to ensure that the police force functions with integrity. Over and over again, we've seen her demonstrate excellence, demonstrate vision, demonstrate character. This is who she is. But we also understand that law enforcement today is incredibly demanding, incredibly difficult. But it's even more disheartening when the media and the community tries to attack someone that's making the inroads and the success and the measures that she is. So we're here today to celebrate her. There are so many more things we could talk about rather than these issues that are really non-issues.
Right.
We could talk about the fact that DPD's greatest need is recruitment. They're looking for strong officers from the community that want to serve. We could talk about the work they're doing with advisory boards to get community leaders and business people in the community to have a voice about the system. We could talk about the issue that we need more jobs for our young people during the summer times. We could talk about the issue of how they're constantly trying to refine the process to make sure that DPD is one of the strongest police departments in the country. Our concern is simply this: we're focused on the wrong thing. There are too many other issues, too many more priorities that need to be considered than these minute issues around our chief. Our chief has shown us over and over again her passion for this community, her passion for law enforcement, her passion to do the right thing. And yet, we live in a society and in a city that is focused upon the wrong thing. Now is the time to redirect our focus on those matters that matter most. And we challenge you and invite you to join us and others as we seek to move forward in a direction that can best serve our city, both law enforcement and the community.
Thank you, man. Well said. Well said. Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, thank you so much. Thank you.